NXT. NXT UK is coming together like Voltron. This is Draped in Gold, the unofficial NXT UK and NXT Aftershow, post-show, other show. What? How do we say that officially? I'm not even sure. I'm Flobo Boyce, and I'm hanging out with my man, the myth, the legend, the guy that has his own anytime radio show on Monday night to tell you all about it. His name is Jack Farmer. How's it going, sir?
Boom, baby. It's going fantastic. What an amazing week of wrestling we've had. What an amazing week in general we've had. Life is good. Air is clearer than it's ever been, at least in the past few weeks. I'm feeling good. How are you feeling, Flobo?
You know what? It's pretty dope, man. Today kind of slipped away from me. I got up and I was like, man, I'm going to go to the grocery store because I didn't get enough water the last time I went. And the next thing you know is, it's UK time. Crap. Yeah. But that's okay, man. I'm living life. I'm living large. I made sure to keep my caffeine intake as solely coffee today. You know what coffee I'm using, Jack?
What coffee is that, Flobo?
Broasters. You know why? Because you're amazing and you make sure that I check it out. And I've been a fan ever since. Tell me more about the whole Broasters goodness.
Man, what I like about it personally, just as someone who enjoys good coffee, is that all of their beans are single origin, organic, and it's roasted weekly. So I always go to www.thebroasters.com and use promo code BROCODE1 so I get the discounts. I'm frugal. I like to shop and get good deals. So I use the promo code at broasters.com. The best coffee you can get, made in Rome, New York.
New York?
Get yours today.
All right. I like that. I like to say a little New York. You know what I'm saying? Because New York like that. Let's start across the pond, man. NXT UK is back, second week in. You were on the show last week, but I needed the overall thoughts about the look and feel and the graphics and the music and all that stuff. But definitely the main event tonight had a little bit of NXT Women's Division action. Thoughts about the show, thoughts about the revival, and thoughts about the main event tonight.
I was really bummed out I didn't get to be on the show last week. I obviously I was interviewing Vampiro, for those who don't know.
Name dropping.
So great interview there. But
where can I see this interview?
You can see it on the Wrestling Chatter. I asked him the question that he says is the greatest question he's ever been asked in his entire life. But all that aside, I was really bummed out because I watched UK last week, and UK, this is my first real time viewing UK as a fan every week. And then I saw it and I was like, I want to talk about this. This is cool. This is interesting. This is fun. This week, to your point, man, that main event, it was a great match. At first, I didn't know if I was really on board with everything. The way it told the story with hurt leg and the match continuing. And once the hurt leg thing happened, I had no idea how it was going to go. And it was exactly what you want in pro wrestling, where you're watching it going, what's going to happen? You know what I mean? It was perfect pro wrestling. I thought it was a great way to end the show.
Yeah, I thought it was a good way to end the show, too. I'm a fan of the idea of making UK a little bit more palatable to us American brutes. I kind of like the whole grungy vibe of the first version, but hey, some change is good. I like Piper Niven. I think she's kind of done, man. If she couldn't put Kaylee Ray away tonight, I don't think she can do it straight up in the future, personally. But I like the fact that women got some time to shine that brand, which was a sore spot, a hole, a weakness, if you will, of that brand. I want to give a shout out to Darius Jax on Twitch. What up, sir? Thank you so much for checking in. Draped in Gold.
Yeah, I want just as far as the presentation, I did want to add, I love how they have the image of the title behind them with the competitors up behind them on the screen. I think that's a great way just to make it feel big and important. So overall, I'm enjoying this I don't know what I'm trying to say into the NXT UK. You say it's not as grungy as it was before, but I still think it's great. I'm still enjoying it, and I thought that opening match with Walter and Saxton was really, really cool. Both those guys just seemed like they beat the hell out of each other, so that was fun. I also like the tag team match we had. One of the fun things about watching a new show where you don't know the wrestlers that well yet is you don't know who's the favorites and who's not the favorites. So I was actually kind of shocked the Hunt lost. It sounded like maybe that was an ongoing thing for them, but for me it was kind of like, oh hey, I didn't expect Pretty Deadly to win.
Actually, I'll start with that first, because the Hunt, yeah, the win-loss record wasn't good, but I think, and this is like my casual fan view, that Pretty Deadly have the worst record. So it kind of was an upset. So like when they came out, I was like, oh, maybe they're trying to push these guys and start them at the bottom. When they lost to literally 2 Triple H clones circa 1995, I was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe what's next. Because I think it's kind of funny that you have two guys that calls himself Wild Boar and the Primate, which I'm so glad they're not black wrestlers. And two, but Primate's
Oh,
so dope though. Like he's so
yes.
fast. He's like Wolverine, and I hope they start something big for them.
Yeah, I was saying the primate. He was great. He was the star of the match for me. I mean, I thought some of the monkey imitations was a little silly, but I thought he just looked shredded. He's got that mean beard. He was great. I want to see more of him. I want to see more of them. And I thought that these 2 episodes were perfect for someone like me trying it out for the first time and seeing what this NXT UK is all about. Because I'm in. I love it.
But you mentioned Walter versus Assassin Huxley, and there's nothing to do with the match because I think it was pretty much a foregone conclusion that the NXT champion would have won. It would have won that match. But I find it's interesting in wrestling in general that when someone has Saxon's build, they always compare him to Bruiser Brody. Even though Bruiser Brody never crossed over into the mainstream, it's your thoughts about that? Is that kind of kind of like what's the big deal, Flobito? Everyone has to compare someone to someone else.
There are certain people that always get compared to, right? So if you're a Mexican wrestler, you get compared to Eddie Guerrero. If you're big with a beard, you get compared to Bruiser Brody. Just certain people always get compared to the same people. James Lott Jr.
Media.
Never once been compared to Bruiser Brody, I believe. But but yeah, shouldn't we be comparing people to the Berserker or anything like? Something like that. Well, it's interesting. It's interesting that we say Bruiser Brody because you're right. I think it's just a look more than anything else. Once you have a look, if you're a big guy with a big beard and long hair, you're Bruiser Brody.
Yeah. Mr. Brody Lee is like, whoop! I work dang hard to be not.
Well, they compare him all the time to Bruiser Brody on AEW too. So because again, big beard, big dude, you're going to be Bruiser Brody.
And before we move on to NXT Prime, I noticed we had our draw this week for the Heritage Cup. It's going to start next week for the, I guess it's actually going to be a cup, so it won't be a belt or a title or anything. Mm-hmm. Pete Dunne getting involved as the official drawer this week, and the referee between Wolf and Noam Dar next week. Thoughts about the cup draw? I mean, this is basically a contract signing, if there ever was one. And the fact our first match is going to get Pete Dunne, who's kind of in a producer wrestler role, involved in the brand next week.
I thought this was great because first off, I'm really excited about this cup, and I like how throughout the show they kept showing that they're trying to make it professional and trying to make it respectable, but you can tell that there's such combustible elements in it that they keep wanting everything to break down, and that gives Pete Dunne the perfect opportunity to come in as sort of an enforcer. By the way, looking shredded. Some people use quarantine to eat a bunch of food. Not Pete Dunne. He was using quarantine to do all 90 P90X days in a row, I think. He's looking good. That shirt fitting him pretty well, but I like how he came in as an enforcer. I think this is a perfect way for him to have something to do that is important, but not having him just rolling over guys for a long time. Yeah. I was really glad because I thought for sure that this mystery final person coming in was going to be Pete Dunne. I already assumed it's going to be him, whatever. And so now knowing, and not to step on the next thing or whatever, is now we know that 3 people are going to compete for the opportunity for that spot next week. And so I actually kind of like, okay, maybe it's not going to be him. Maybe it is going to be a surprise third person. I'm hoping it's Goldberg, but we'll see.
Oh my goodness. Heritage. That's the British style of the spear jackhammer. So 2 weeks ago, I asked you your favorite. You said Dave Mastiff. Is he still your guy, or are you leaning towards wild card guy? Joseph Connors look like he has a shot?
I feel like you're not allowed to pick wild card. It's probably going to be wild card. So I'm gonna stick with Mastiff. I think he's the guy. I think he's got everything you want in a win. I think this is kind of win that will help him move up. I think it'll be a big win for him, and I could see him doing big things after it. I could see him hoisting up a giant cup as well.
Oh yeah, sorry Goldberg. It's true because if you invite friends over to play, I don't know if you're a Madden guy or an NBA 2K guy, there's always that gentleman's agreement, you don't pick the all-star team unless you're doing an all-star match. You know what I mean? You gotta be fair. So I totally get it. Charlie, thanks for being in the chat, hanging with us. We're now moving over to NXT Prime, the black and gold brand. New number 1 contender for Finn Balor's NXT Championship. It's not Kushida. It's not Cameron Grimes. It's Kyle O'Reilly. Question mark or exclamation point, Jack? Talk to me.
It's an exclamation point. That is a move that I think we've wanted to see done in NXT for a long time. I don't think any of us expected it to happen as long as Kyle O'Reilly was a part of the Undisputed Era. So seeing it was not only a surprise, but I think Kyle O'Reilly is someone that if you look at Twitter, if you look at the wrestling community, everyone loves him. And I think they've wanted him to have a chance to shine on his own. He's been lights out as a tag team champion for years now, always putting on great matches. I think this is a great opportunity for him. And I think they have put him in a position to succeed by having him come into the Gauntlet Eliminator match and run the entire thing to win. He seems legitimate. He seems like he can really stand up to this task. And I think he's going to give Finn Balor a run for his money.
I'm the kind of the same boat. Like I was a firm believer that you have to chop off everyone's personal wrestling history once you get to the WWE system. You can say, hey, back at NXT, you were great, but you can't be like, an RH, you were amazing. Kyle O'Reilly, I'm not knocking anyone, I'm not knocking him, was fantastic. And if you want to go back and see his feud with Adam Cole in ROH, that stuff is one of the best storytelling I've seen, Ciampa and Gargano included. But here in NXT, he's always been one half of a tag team a championship squad, or even tag team contending squad. So I was a little bit concerned about giving him the opportunity. But I will say it was the perfect decision to have him start with Kushida specifically and have it run the Gauntlet Eliminator match. And I'm on board. I mean, look, it looks fairly apparent that Finn Balor will retain, but at the same time, it'd be kind of cool if he didn't. And I think that's what makes NXT pretty awesome.
I think the drama that would happen if Kyle O'Reilly won the title, first off, it's such a good payoff. Also, yeah, I think it's such a good payoff for people who've been a fan of his. And it's also that thing that was so great about NXT where you get to watch these guys kind of come up from someone you've never heard of, unless you've watched Ring of Honor or some of these other companies. But if you're like a lot of WWE viewers, you haven't seen them before, you see them grow and become things. And I think it'd be so satisfying to see him grow into the champion, but also the repercussions of what would happen within the Undisputed Era if it wasn't Adam Cole who was the champion. Right now, they're all hugs and high fives and friendly smiles. Okay. But you know as well as I do, in the world of wrestling, it doesn't go very well when the guy who's the leader is no longer the champion. And that absolutely makes me very interested in what's going to happen with the Undisputed Era as a whole. The whole show had me questioning.
Yeah, what about the other guys in the match? We got Kushida getting eliminated assist via the Dream. Bronson Reed took a very awkward pin, but it's fair enough. He didn't win this one. And Cameron Grimes is the utility man of the brand. These three men, what's next for these guys, you think?
This, by the way, I just want to say the Gauntlet Eliminator match, basically, I want to see a Royal Rumble version of the Gauntlet Eliminator match.
Dude, that'd be 4 hours long. That would be the one.
I don't care, man. Make that the pay-per-view. Make it the whole show. I loved the whole thing because I love that.
I agree.
Who's coming out next? But what I don't like about the Royal Rumble is how like people can just willy-nilly get thrown over the top. I like that this one has, you have to pin and submit and all these other things. So I love this match. I think it was built out perfectly. I agree with you. Kushida in the beginning was the right move for him because it allows him to wrestle his way and do his things. And him and Kyle O'Reilly just had chemistry. I thought that they worked great together. Obviously, Kushida's going to have a rivalry with Dream. I'd like to see Kushida win there. I'd like to see him get his time to shine and get his a chance to move on. But then you've got Bronson Reed, who seems like someone who's lining up for something big.
Absolutely.
He is geared up for something big. I think for him, it's just a matter of when and not if. Right. One of the guys I've come around more on than anyone else in a long, long time is Cameron Grimes. He's very valuable in being just this. The slip on a banana peel guy, the guy who's just so annoying and obnoxious and you want to see get beat up. He's so good at that. But also, I'm a big Thatcher fan. I would love to see Thatcher and Grimes have some sort of program together, whether it's them facing each other or as a tag team. I could see both working. I think Grimes could give Thatcher that that character that he needs to be more interesting. And I could see Thatcher giving the teeth to Cameron Grimes to make him more dangerous.
What's left, yeah.
Yeah, what's left.
I mean, dude, he looks like a guy that fights for real. Yeah, I think every guy looked pretty good, and you're absolutely right, man. Bronson Reed, over the past 6 weeks, has darkened his ring attire, got a brand new theme song, which is definitely in my playlist now. They don't call him Thick Boy no more.
No.
2 new shirts in the shops. Like, even if you don't think on a creative level, business-wise, this guy's going to go places. And rightfully so, man, because him and even guys like Mastiff they're huge, and they don't really they don't do Tope Suicidas, but they can. And that's what makes it awesome.
Yes.
Maybe perhaps ironic, but yeah.
Yeah, and to your point, getting rid of the Thick thing, Thick is fun. Don't get me wrong. I think it was a great way to get him recognizable, but you can't be a champion and be silly. You'll notice, especially in NXT, silly doesn't work as champion. You got to be someone who is very dominant and very good and very dangerous. And trading in Thick for Colossal, it means more than just a trade of words. It's a mindset, and I think that's going to. It's going to take a lot to propel a Thick Boy like the Colossal Bronson Reed, but I think it's going to propel him. I think there's big things in plan for him.
I just want to say, if someone said the Colossal Jack Farmer's on his way over, I'm like, where?
You can say that for anybody, yeah.
Let's talk about that women's division real quick, man. Number 1 contenders battle royal featuring wrestlers I haven't really seen before. I don't know if you have. And it basically was a good match. What a way to start the show. It was a interesting decision to make it the first segment, but again, I think it was a right decision here. Candice LeRae, the Poison Pixie herself, was facing Io Shirai. She won the match. A little bit of a reversal from this time last year where Io was the heel, which I still think she should be, but that's another thought altogether. But now we have a match at the next takeover. Thoughts about the Battle Royal, good sir, and its winner.
So it's overall thoughts of a Battle Royal to start off the show. It's interesting how Battle Royals can seem either so important or so random at any given time, depending on how they're presented. I've been saying for a while, I think NXT is sort of in a transitional period, or it's sort of lost its way in some ways. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just think a lot of people have left the brand or have been made unavailable, and NXT has been forced to sort of find new people. And even in a stacked women's division, I look at matches like this and the Eliminator Gauntlet and all these big multi-person matches as a way of sort of shaking things up and seeing who sticks to who and what happens. And we got that today. There was a lot of people we haven't seen before, but WWE is smart. NXT is smart. They know that we're going to remember them when they come out later down the line. It made a lot of people stand out, like Catanzaro standing out to the end there, and other people. And of course, that Rhea Ripley and Raquel banging, fighting. A lot of stuff shook out of there, and I think there was a lot of little things that will pay dividends down the road, and that's one of the things NXT is so good at. I think this is Candice LeRae's time. I don't know what else you'd want her to do. She's been there for a long time. She's been fighting for a long time. She's been talented for a long time. It's time to give her a shot at that title. I'm still backing Io Shirai. I think Io Shirai is a legend already in my mind. So I don't know if I see her as losing the title at TakeOver, but I think this is it's time for Candice LeRae to have a match like this.
True. Charlene's asking when's the next TakeOver. She said it's October 4th, so a week from Sunday, which is we're just around the corner. I feel like TakeOver 30 was like last week, but you know, you mentioned Rhea Ripley and Raquel Gonzalez. It seems that between her and, I guess, I don't know if we call her Mercedes Martinez anymore because she's now on Monday Night Raw. But
no.
She doesn't even have a name in Retribution.
Not yet, but I'm assuming it's she's going to get a Retribution name, I'm sure.
Yeah, fair enough. Looks like Rhea Ripley is like going after every heavyweight female in that division. How long can you do that? So people start asking, hey, okay, that's great. What's next? As a DJ, how many times can you play Get Lucky till you realize, you know what? This song ain't slapping like it used to be.
It depends how long the dance set is. That's what. Uh,
7 months in lockdown, Jack. That's how long.
so yeah, this is definitely a holdover for her to keep her looking legitimate because she is. I have a feeling she'll be challenging Io Shirai come WrestleMania weekend. So I think their hope is to keep this going until March. I think their hope is to keep her preoccupied with things until then because I think that's the big match is Io Shirai versus Rhea Ripley. And if you give it away now or if you do it before then, it's too soon. I mean, of course, I want good things now, so I want to see it now. But I'm saying, I think that's the plan. I'd like to see. I like Rhea Ripley though. I like seeing her having these matches. I thought her match with Martinez was great. So keep it going. Let her keep fighting these big, strong women. I think they're great.
Okay, there, Booker man. You have WrestleMania plans with Rhea Ripley and Io Shirai. That's like what, 6 months away? 7 months away.
Yeah.
What do you do to keep her occupied? How many? Now, granted, Takeover has an advantage of having less Takeover events, but NXT does the ever 2-3 week semi pay-per-view type matchups. What do you possibly do with the women's roster we have right now to keep Rhea Ripley at bay?
That's what this battle royal did well. Is it put up a bunch of people? You've got Kanzara now, who's on the table as someone who could have matches. Shotzi Blackheart is still available as someone who could be having matches. You still have Candice LeRae, obviously, is going to have her thing, which means you have Tegan Knox, who's going to come back from the attack and probably have a rivalry, which then launches her to that next level. You've got a lot of people and a lot of things that you can do. That's not to mention, I wouldn't be surprised if the women's tag team titles rolled back through there for a rivalry, which will take up some time as well. So you can do things. Now, you're right, 6 months away. It's a long ways away. I got to be honest, for some reason in my mind, I always feel like WrestleMania is like in right after the new year. So I forget that. I forget that the end of March is kind of
just all contract sightings. We're going to do it again live.
I always think like, the end of the year is only in a few months, and then it's practically WrestleMania season.
But that's practically SummerSlam. Well, here's the thing I thought about this match. It was a lot of women that did a lot of good things in this. I'm not going to take that away from any particular person or individual, even though my girl Jessie was not involved. Whatever.
Well, what's that all about?
I don't know. Not the best wrestler, I understand. But still, the more Jessie, the better.
Hey,
okay.
You got to support who you love.
You got to support who you love. The Jessie Show. Yeah. I thought the woman of the match, right, the man of the match, the MVP of the match, is and has been for a long time Dakota Kai. Dakota Kai was able to run like little laps around the competition and looked like someone who belonged in there. And that's another person I worry about because, again, it's not time for her to be the champion. But question for you, for someone like Dakota Kai, is a secondary championship or are we the best solution for someone like that, or do we get like another grudge match alongside Tegan Knox and not Tegan Knox? What do you do to keep this talent warm for not her being lame or boring or what have you?
You're a big I guess what I'm trying to say is No, what I'm trying to say is she's got a lot of Bailey in her, I think, where she does a lot of work. I don't think she gets nearly the credit she deserves for it, but she does do a lot of good stuff. And it's hard. It's easy to be that person that's absolutely dominant, crushing people, and always put in positions of success.
Yeah.
And saying, oh, yeah, they're great at what they do. But she isn't. And so to be that way and to still come across as this great, credible competitor, I think says a lot. And so You're right. I always hate saying just add another title because it feels like such an easy catch-all solution to everything. So I always want to hesitate on that. I would rather they brought the women's tag team titles in and thank you, Charlene. And have her team up with Raquel and have them go after the tag team titles and maybe hold them even more than adding an additional title that just for the sake of adding a title, especially because the women's tag team titles need some tag team, people to compete for them. So I'd rather fill up that division before adding another one. But to be fair, the women's division NXT certainly has the roster for it. So I guess why not?
Yeah. Well, I guess I like my workhorses, I guess.
I like how I spend all this time saying don't add one, and then at the end I go, but why not?
Whatever. We can or cannot do that. Oh, Skip Bayless
My
in the
gut
house.
says maybe.
My gut says I want to say, speaking of maybes, that's a Jack Farmer transition. I watched a promo backstage featuring Sarah Schreiber and Damian Priest, the North American champion of NXT, and dare I say it, is Damian becoming cool? Is he becoming dope?
He is becoming cool for some reason. Something that hit with me is, he seemed cooler. He seems nicer. He does flip flop between being like, I'm a party dude, shut up, losers, to Austin Theory's a pretty talented individual, and I'll give him my best shot. It's an interesting thing that he's able to sort of switch between the two pretty easily. But he's seeming cool. I'm starting to like him more. I'm buying in on him. I wasn't always a fan of his. It's taken me a long time, but I think he's settling into who he is. And I think it's a great example of a title giving someone that credibility they need, because he seems more credible, especially since he's taking on all comers and he's taking on guys like Austin Theory. They had a great match. They went a lot longer than I expected it to. So I agree with you. Damian Priest is doing everything he needs to be doing right now.
Yeah, Damian Priest is like that guy who's like a friend of a friend that has that thing you want. Like, oh, a PS5? Hold on. I got to hear somewhere. So Austin Theory, let's talk about the match real quick. Austin Theory, again, things inside the ring, things outside the ring. That's not here or there. The match itself was pretty solid. Austin Theory proves week in and week out that he is a prodigy. But for this particular viewer, it's getting harder and harder to cheer for him, because I do feel the cringe over my shoulder about what's happening on the outside. I can't be the only one. Do you address this on screen or just have him lose all the time? Like, what would you do with the problem named Austin Theory? This blue chipper that you don't want to cut, because if he gets cut, he goes anywhere else, he's going to be a bona fide star.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you really can't get the strap on him or put the rocket on him.
Yeah, and he's young too, so he'd be a big star for a long time somewhere else. It's not someone who's 45. That nothing wrong with 45, but in wrestling that usually means you're on the way out.
Unless you're Jericho.
Unless you're Jericho, then you've got 25 more years. But I get what you're saying. I agree with you. I see that. I see that in other people that are on NXT right now. The easy solution is the first thing I go to, which is I think you just take him off TV for a minute, and you let us forget. But I guess he was off TV for a while.
The Forgotten Sons method.
Yes.
Just gone.
Gone. Yeah. Which is kind of crazy. I don't want to get into it. Never mind. I was gonna say you put out a text supporting their political views. Agree with them or not? A tweet supporting with their political views, and the entire team has been vanished from TV.
Yeah. Where
other people have done things that are completely worse, I think, regardless of your political association. And they are back on TV and in roles.
The core difference here, and I'm not defending. Trust me, I'm not defending anybody. Please,
no.
Please.
I'm not either. I'm just saying. I'm trying to be unbiased. So I'm just saying, like, on paper, I feel like if you showed both people's actions to a non-wrestling fan, they would go, "Oh, well, clearly one is a bigger deal than the other, right?"
So let's talk about this, and I'll take the heat for it. So there were some talent that were allegedly had sexually inappropriate behavior and things like that. So it's assuming that the character or the person on screen is different when they are doing their illicit activities. And so in the back of our minds, we go, oh, this person went to work and wrestled, but when the lights went on, they did allegedly things that were kind of suspicious. I think in the case of Jackson Riker character, his tweet ended with a slogan on-screen character. So it kind of blended the lines of the on-screen and what's happening. And I think as a company, you're like, hey, what we do off our own hours is fine. Right, AJ? Right, Taker? But you can't be mixing both. And I think that's why they pull them. But I'm not defending him saying one's better than the other. You know?
Right. Well, I'm just,
what, Jack? No, I'm just kidding. This is awkward as hell. So let's move on.
Let's move on. Let's
speaking of
rank them in order.
Yeah. The most egregious, the least egregious.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that was not awkward to watch, my new boy, I'm going to put him on my list of Flobo faves now, Jake Atlas had a match against Tommaso Ciampa. Now, I was expecting this to be a complete showcase of the viciousness of Tommaso, but they went toe-to-toe for a while, which really impressed the heck out of me because I was wondering what Jake Atlas was about. I hate using the phrase has no character. You guys saw me on Twitter this week. I went on a huge rant about that, but I really felt that Jake had a chance to really show a different side of it, and he did. That's about the match, Jack.
I loved it. I thought this was great. I think you always talk about people who are like the veterans and helping the new person become recognized by the fans. I think this put Atlas on the map. I think we now know who he is. I thought he looked great. I thought his tights looked cool. I thought his wrestling was cool.
His trunks look cool?
His trunks look cool. Now, if he was wearing buttless chaps, I'd be all in.
Lead of the week. Check it out on Jack Farmer's channel.
So yeah, we have a good discussion on buttless chaps on the Elite of the Week. You got to check it out.
He's the only person that calls it buttless, but okay.
But the point is, he came across really well. He wrestled well. He looked like he belonged in the ring with Tommaso Ciampa, which is no small task. He sounded
he's bigger
good.
Than Tommaso. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, he's a lot bigger than I expected him. To be honest, Tommaso's actually smaller than he looks. That's a whole side conversation. But,
I think his trunks makes him look smaller. He should be in pants.
Yeah. No, but Tommaso's not that big, but like the way he carries himself like he's as big as Randy Orton, but he's really like 5'11" or something. He's actually really
midget
small. If you're under 6 feet, that's the rule, right?
Right.
No, as I like barely peek over.
Exactly. I'm like 5'11" and like 0.8. Like
that's why I put my hair up. It gets me over the. No.
Pro tip. We're in a wig next week.
But he looked like he has potential to be a star. I think he looked like someone you could easily relate to, someone you could easily cheer for. He even just he had a bit of, I don't know what it was, but almost this like old school wrestling presence and like how he's built and how he walked, and not like, I don't know if I'm explaining it right, but he just had that like classic wrestler vibe to him that even as an older wrestling fan, like, yeah, I like this guy. He just stands out to me and he looks great. And I feel like he wrestled well. The fact that he just stayed in the ring with a vicious killer like Tommaso Ciampa, it means a lot. And I don't know what's next for him, but I'm on board. I'm ready to see it.
Yeah, I was wondering he was going to be like the I don't know what they call it, the loner talent, like go out there and lose, like the job into the stars, as they say. I think there is a bit of upside for Jake Atlas. I think he should have a longer tenure in NXT compared to most talent, but I think it's a lot of upside for him. But it seems that Ciampa is now full heel. We were worried or wondering whether or not he was going to be an anti-hero or anti-villain, but no, it looks like he's a classic, like, I'm going to rip your neck off kind of guy.
How do you feel about his mask?
It's kind of weird because of the 2020 pandemic. Like, I think a lot of that stuff that will be cool and provocative is kind of passé. I feel the same way when people wear bandanas to the ring now. Evilise, Diamante, Mia Yim. Like, the whole covering your face to show a different evil side of you is still good, but I do think it doesn't hit as hard. If this was 19, I'd have been like, oh, there's no pandemic. I'm like, great. But now it's kind of like, yeah, we all wear a mask and we suit up and go outside. We all felt that feeling.
Interesting.
We were in Borderlands getting our milk and eggs. Like, it's kind of like not the same.
Yeah, that's an interesting take. I love it, but it's an interesting take. I think it looks cool. I was thinking that if I was one of the guys who left NXT and was now wearing a mask on Raw, I'd be a little bummed out. How come we didn't get a cool mask like that? But I think it's cool. I don't know.
You don't say Shades of Vader or WCW Vader?
Shades and Echoes of Vader. Yeah. I didn't think it originally. I mean, I didn't
mark that.
I didn't really see it. I mean, I could see where you're coming from. That I didn't feel that way when I saw it though. But I love him. I love evil Ciampa. I love the psychopath. I love that whole thing. He's just got that look. He's got everything about him is just. I always compare him to Randy Orton because much like Randy Orton, everything Tommaso Ciampa does feels very serious and very important. And even when Jake Atlas is coming out, you're thinking, Atlas is buckle up, buddy, because you're in a dangerous situation around Ciampa. And when Ciampa was teasing a fight with Kyle O'Reilly last week, Kyle, dude, be careful. That guy's dangerous, So, yeah, I thought everyone handled themselves perfectly in this match.
You gotta give credit where credit's due. Ciampa's not my favorite superstar, and I said that before in past episodes. But like Randy Orton, I think there's one word to describe him. No, I'm gonna spell it out. No, there's only one word to describe him, and that's deliberate. And a guy that size is the temptation's high to do the flippy stuff or to just to look mean and do a zigzag, right? But to punch and kick with force is definitely a lost art, and it's even harder to translate that to the modern wrestling fan because now we've seen this. Like you can't, there's some moves you can't bring back. You can't bring back the bear hug as a finisher because we've moved past that. But for someone to really have a rear chin lock and just grind on it and make that look like it's a vicious move in 2019, I give him props.
I'm still hoping for the atomic drop to make a comeback.
The classic one, the one that's towards you, or the inverted?
Yeah.
The inverted or
the one? Either. I like them both.
That wasn't the first time we were like, "Hey, ref, how come?" Oh, it's a tailbone move. I get it.
Oh, I get it. That's like Sting used to do them like crazy. I don't know. Yeah. That was like he'd clear out the NWO by hitting tons of atomic drop. Or Manhattan, I think it's Manhattan drop one way, atomic drop the other.
Like Manhattan Project, yeah. Atomic facing away is atomic, and then to you is inverted. But if the inverted is Manhattan, that makes sense too.
I don't know. I've heard it said both ways, but either way, I always feel I remember Sting used to clear the NWO out with that, and I was like, this is so stupid. Come on.
You know what move I really hate? Like classic move I can't stand? Pump handles. I don't get it. I don't understand why bending over and giving your opponent your hand makes it more devastating. A Road Dogg would do it, I would get so mad. It's not a fancy move.
I didn't like the Road Dogg's version because that just feels like a slam. But I like it when people would do it for where they put him on the shoulder slam.
Yeah,
I thought that's
Skip
cool.
That part, just I don't get it.
I feel like it makes it look more like a technical move than because Braun Strowman just kind of grabs him and hoists him up.
Right.
But I think when you do the pump handle, it makes it look like it's a more, to use your word, deliberate move as opposed to I'm just hoisting you up and slamming you.
Agree to disagree. Charlene says if he might be able to bring the bear hug, he could use a puppet.
As a bear puppet.
You know what? We're going to Mania.
You know who should have used a bear hug? It's late now. Too late now. It's years too late now. But Naked Midian should have had a bear hug, and he should have spelt it BARE.
Oh gosh.
The bear hug.
Here's the thing. He wasn't naked, but I was like, that's enough. Just don't. I wasn't complaining for realism. It's fine. So gross. So gross.
The Attitude Era was the best.
Yeah, it totally was. Yeah, tell that to Meat and Chat and Beaver Cleavage. Speaking of characters on this channel, on this show, Rich Holland comes back for, I think, 5 weeks since his match with Gargano. This time in a match with Antonio De Luca, the results seem to be pretty much locked away. Rich Holland is getting built or rebuilt. That's a guy who should wear pants, in my opinion. I think something's missing with him. I like the idea. I love the Victorian England, Billy Club and taxi driver hat, but I don't know. Thoughts?
I know what you're saying. One thing he did in his promo that always drives me nuts because people who've come from other sports have always say stuff like this, where he says, "I was a rugby player and that's the toughest sport in the world, and now I'm a pro wrestler." And I always think, way to just belittle pro wrestling. You should be like, "Yeah, I was in rugby, but I needed a bigger challenge, so I came to the toughest sport in the world, pro wrestling."
It's very Street Fighter of you.
Right? Like that. I feel like that just makes sense to me. But in any case, I get what you're saying about Rich Holland. I think that what doesn't translate to me is you're right. He has the hat, he has the jacket, he has the little is it a billy club?
It looks like a billy club.
A billy club?
Or a slapjack, which is kind of
slapjack, which is terrifying to someone like me. But
hey, you're right.
but the it's always weird. But he wears all these regular clothes to the ring, and then he's in his underwear when he wrestles. You're right. I think he should wear something like pants or something that fits what he's wearing when he walks out to the ring. Right. I get what he's doing. He's going for that old school wrestler look with no knee pads and boots and stuff. But where I think that works for some guys, like a Thatcher, I think it comes off as a little generic for Holland instead. And so I think he does need something to make him stand out a little bit more, because if you're not a wrestling fan, or if you're not like as into it as we are, if you're watching it for the first time, he's forgettable. You'd forget that there was that match. In fact, I love the guy. I'm into the guy. I'm buying stock in the guy.
Yeah, I would too.
I forgot that this happened until you brought it up, because it. Oh yeah. We brought it. I was like, oh yeah, there is that to talk about. Right. I think they have stuff for him. I think they're just going to need to give him. I think he needs something to develop that character, because if pro wrestling is a world of tough guys, being a tough guy in a world of tough guys just means you're like everybody else. So he needs something more than just being, I'm a tough guy from the UK, if that makes sense. Because especially now that UK is going again, because it's like, great, I can see a whole hour of tough guys from the UK.
And we do.
And we do. So I want to see something more from him. I have a gripe, though, that he did. And everyone does it these days, but I have a gripe. And that's when you take a move that already exists, make it your finisher, and change the name of the move. Like his move's an Emerald Fusion, right?
Yeah, you gotta sell tickets and toys, bro.
Like, that's what it is. Like, if I do a figure 4, I can't call it the knick-knack patty jack submission.
So hold on. So when Stone Cold Steve Austin comes to the ring, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna hit you with a 3/4 face lock jaw jacker. No, it's a stunner. He changed the name of the move that existed already. Let him do that.
That's I mean,
what, Jack?
It's happening too much now, though. It's everything. Every single move now has a new name to it.
Because you can trademark that. Everyone gets a name, or gets a name, a nickname. They trademark it.
You can have all the reasons in the world. I still hate it.
What do people to do?
Call it what it is.
No one cares about Ace Crushers anymore.
That's the name of the move. I win with this move. Like, just because you call it, like, it's still a frog splash. Whether you call it a whatever, like, at least I will say the lowdown's different. He does it in a different way. Yeah. That's different. Like, and so I appreciate, like, Eddie Guerrero called it the frog splash. Great. Even Rob Van Dam, it's a 5-star frog splash. It's a really good one. Works. I'll even give Lowdown a pass, because what he does with his legs and his hands is different.
You better do it.
So
now pass. Yeah.
Now I hope when you were imitating, you were also doing your legs. That's part of the rule.
Yeah, of course. I'm my check little kid. No.
So it bothers me when you use a move that's already been used, especially when it's been used. I mean, I guess it was mostly in Japan, so it doesn't really count here in the States. But you know what I mean.
I know what you mean. That raises the question: is it a cutter? Is it a crusher? Is it an RKO? Like, I feel RKO is different because he runs. I get it, but I'm just saying, like, what's the right way? Do you use NWA names? Do you use WWE names?
I don't know. You just feel like it's. I guess when it's well enough known, you shouldn't mess with it. You get to a certain point, like the F5 should be the F5 forever at this point. We all know the F5. The pedigree is the pedigree forever at this point. You can't come in and go like do a pedigree, but call it, like I said, the Jack Slam or whatever I'm going to call it.
Jack Slam is not the Jack's Hammer. That is a jackhammer. Apparently.
No, the Jack's Hammer is very specific.
We're such nerds, man. I love it.
Yes.
I like the idea of it. I think it needs a finishing move too. It doesn't. Northern Grit seems like a setup move. Doesn't seem like it's devastating enough.
Agree.
I don't know, man. Because the reason I want to bring it up, I bring Rich Holland up because he's like somebody built him in a lab for Flobito to like. You know what I'm saying? Like, he works hard. He's a nice size. He can go really fast, but it's just not hitting. And I don't know what's missing. Maybe some trunks. Maybe new moves. Maybe we'll get a old new move and go back to an old name to appease the older fans. We don't know.
I do think he needs a new finisher. You're right. I agree. I think that you labeled it right. It feels like a setup move.
Yeah.
And you know.
Charlie.
That's 90% of conversations with me.
Hey, I'll take it. I'm the same way.
I start with an argument, I change mine, and then I just say, whatever.
Benevolence.
You're welcome. But yeah, he needs something. He needs something like different, like a better finisher, and he needs something with personality. Like I said at the top, you can't be a tough guy in a world of tough guys. Otherwise, you're just a guy.
Yeah.
It's like algebra. If you guys remember algebra, when you have an equal sign, you take off the thing that both sides have in common, and that's what you're left with. If it's tough guy on one end, and then you have Ciampa who's tough guy but also deliberate, you take both off. You have deliberate guy against a who's this?
That was literally my worst subject in school, math. I can't help you. If it was geography, I got you, homie. It's kind of like Yugoslavia before it broke up. I got that. I don't know.
That's where that's where you got me beat. I'm outside of California. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. This barren wasteland. Let's talk about this tag team division. Mystery Vortex 4 PWG style. Jack Cromer, walk me through this. 4 teams, but it wasn't. But it was.
I loved it. I thought it was so weird. It was such a great breakup of the monotony of, okay, these guys are fighting. One of them will get it made it weird. It made it interesting. It gave multiple teams a chance to shine. It got to show us how different people interacted with each other. I did feel a little bit like if Birch was a real person and you made a movie out of him, you'd have Fabian play him in the movie.
That's kind of cool. Pal swaps.
Yeah, it's like you're like, well, Birch, you're cool, but this is the movie version of
right.
You.
He does think it was a pub after the matches.
Right. I loved that Birch timed the boom for when they walked out. For his like,
yeah, it was sick.
That was
I
cool.
like those guys.
Yeah, I thought everyone looked good in the match. I thought Fabian looked like a monster in that match. Just he's a big fella. I think he's going to do pretty well. I also thought Roderick Strong, I think, came off as a quiet star in the match and just
quiet,
doing well. And I say quiet because he's always been the fourth guy in Undisputed Era, and he's always been kind of the add-on guy. But I thought he looked great in this match. I think he did so much in this match, and he played different roles as far as, is he the ne'er-do-well of Undisputed Era? Is he like the good guy because he's paired with Birch? Is he just a hard worker? He wrestled different styles. He was all over the ring. I think he showed out really well. Undisputed Era, in general, they're basically, it looks like they're saying, look, if you're going to split us up, we're going to be great either way.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, first of all, this again, very Mystery Vortex PWG thing was great because it was the alternative to a tournament. We've seen tournaments up and down, left and right, and there's also a tournament happening in UK. I thought it was pretty cool. What up, Black Raider? Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the show.
Are those some bear hugs?
Oh man, they are bear hugs.
Black Raider hitting you with the bear hug.
They're finishing moves. I like the idea and the fact that Danny Burch got some time because Oni is definitely the driver one of that 2-man team. So it's kind of cool to see it. And, yeah. Hey, I got that. Hey.
Yeah, hey.
And that little moment with him and Roderick Strong doing like the handshake into the fist bump, it was like story of my life. And I said this on Twitter is that Roderick Strong did put on the clinic. To his credit, he did powerhouse moves, he did strikes, he did technical maneuvers, he did character work. Like, he did a lot of stuff to cover all 4 corners. Was it the right call, though, to have Rondoza take the pin, seeing that Legado de Fantasma has been undefeated as a unit or as a tag team, the side of that? Does it matter at all, or just someone had to let it loose tonight? I'm
going to say it doesn't matter because I didn't even realize it.
Okay.
It slipped right by me, and I think that it's just one of those things where, if anything, you can play that like, hey, Fabian, you left me hanging. Where were you? My real tag team partner would have saved the day. You though didn't, and now you can build off of that. Someone's got to take the pin. I guess Agner could have taken the pin because he's probably going to go back to UK, and we'll forget that he was part of this anyways.
Yeah,
but. I also think he's a beast. I think they've got some plans for that guy. But I like the team that won. I think the fact that they won, it now makes you go, well, cool. So are they going to have a tag team match of some kind, or what's going to happen with them? I was actually thinking, though, I don't know what's going on with Lorcan, but I wouldn't mind seeing Birch and Roddy continue tagging. I kind of liked it.
That's crazy. Hey, Oni, listen, it's not going to work out.
What? I I was gonna say I could see them doing, even whether it's just because they go, look, man, this works, let's ride with it, or if they were like, hey, we're not really friends, but we're winning. So, one of those, I love those odd couple tag teams.
That would probably be maybe after the fact, but as it is right now, it will be Undisputed Era against Lorcan and Birch, and the winner will face Breezango for the tag team titles, presumably at TakeOver. So I guess that'll be next week or so. But yeah, you're right. Again, like PWG's Mystery Vortex is technically a minor show because the card is basically announced at the show when things are drawn. But it's kind of cool seeing so many different worlds collide. I mean, last time. The only time I went to PWG, that's where I saw Jeff Cobb. That's where I saw Pete Dunne. That's where I saw all those guys. And I was like, oh, it's cool to see them interact together. So, yeah, as weird as it was, there's no way. I don't think Roderick Strong even goes to the same bars as Eddie Birch. But we got it tonight, and it totally made sense. Just overall closing thoughts of the show, man. Both shows, NXT and NXT UK.
Yeah, I thought NXT did such a good job. Like I said, I feel like they're trying to find their ground with this new world they're in, with Johnny Gargano as a ne'er-do-well, as Tommaso Ciampa as a psychopath, but not in the and Adam Cole still out there. All three of them not in the title picture, but still trying to do things important. What's going on with the Undisputed Era? How are we going to start building even more with this incredibly deep women's division, as well as all these other guys who are contenders for the world title? With Finn Balor sitting on top, I think this was definitely one of those, shake the bag and see what comes out kind of episodes, but in a good way. As far as NXT UK goes, I'm really excited about it. I'm really enjoying it. I think I texted to you. It feels like this really cool mix of the wild gimmick kind of stuff with the reality kind of stuff thrown together. So you have, Valkyrie as a character with birds flying around, but also you have them just beat the hell out of each other in matches. So I'm really excited about it. I don't know if it's, again, because I don't know who the I don't know who's who, so every match is sort of like, oh, this is going to be interesting. What's going to happen here?
It's kind of a reboot for me too, because you don't know if the records are reset. I don't know if who's to be, a big deal or not. So,
I think in some ways, I think you probably will. Much like I think Kyle O'Reilly took his time off and got yoked, and that's why he's getting rewarded. And I think that, like I said, Pete Dunne, he doesn't need anything extra, but he just got shredded up, and so I think he's going to have a big role soon. But what do you do with Pete Dunne? He can't just battle Walter again.
2 words. Buttless chaps. Charlene asked on the way out, she goes, who won the Wednesday Night War for you guys, NXT or AEW? Jack Farmer, thoughts?
I'm an AEW guy.
Cold
I like the
as
AEW.
Samba snow.
I become man.
Yeah, for real.
What about you?
It's hard to say, man. It's NXT is in a building period. And I do think AEW has better stories currently. I am a story person, but I do think NXT has better individual character development. So this week I enjoy NXT more, only because, hey, look, I'm seeing the building of Bronson Reed, or hey, look, this is what NXT UK is going to look like with their, it's a Thursday show, or hey, look, Roderick Strong's with Danny Burch. Wow, that's kind of a cool individual character moment. But the storylines are stronger on AEW, so I can't even. It's a no contest.
It's an interesting thing. I think with the long-term storytelling in AEW, you do get the longer, kind of bigger stories, and I think you get a bit of satisfaction when things come to fruition. But on the negative side, sometimes it feels like you're lumbering towards an outcome is going to happen anyways, but you've got to take the long road to get there. Where NXT sometimes it doesn't have that long-form storytelling, because I think it's mostly because they know that at any moment Raw and SmackDown might go yoink and take something away from them. But because of that, you can get to the places you're trying to go a lot quicker. So like Kyle O'Reilly's as the perfect example. If it was AEW, it probably would have taken 9 months to get him to this point, where in NXT they can go few things last week, big win this week, done, you're there, and it kind of happens. So it's definitely different. It's a different flavor, but I think both are amazing. I feel like we have this war thing, but I love them both. I feel so spoiled.
Yeah, I'll fight you every week on text. We gotta get out of here, but before I do, on our sister show, Elite of the Week, you have this thing called the Elite of the Week, and we're totally ripping off that idea. We're only doing one.
I love it.
Jack Farmer, if you had to pick an MVP of NXT this week, who would it be?
Without a doubt, it's Kyle O'Reilly, man. He went the Eliminator Gauntlet. He won the whole thing. He showed the world that he is a star. We all know he was. The fact that he's always had this playing the guitar with the titles and the charisma and his style of wrestling, it's totally different than what a lot of other people are doing. He yoked up. He showed out. He proved to everyone he belongs. He wasn't just the performer of the week this week. I think he might be the performer of this takeover to takeover span.
Ooh. Well, I kind of went the opposite route. I think for me, the MVP was Beth Phoenix. She definitely stepped into a role more now with the commentator shuffles. Wade Barrett's great, but didn't have the range as Mauro Ranallo did, and everyone had to step up. I think Beth Phoenix did the most. But I can't knock Kyle O'Reilly because as an in-ring performer, he definitely made this show his own. That does it for this edition of Draped in Gold, man. Your unofficial NXT, NXT UK after show. My name is Flobo Boyce, but Jack Farmer, where can the world find you online?
You can find me at jackcfarmer.com as well as at RealJackFarmer across all social media. You can also check me out on Mondays at the Anytime Radio Show. You can see at theanytimeradioshow.com where I play music requested by you, the fans. Let me know what you want to hear. I'll get it played. Tuesdays, I'm doing the Everything Tournament with you. I'll let you speak more on that if you'd like. Nah. Wednesdays, we've got Elite of the Week where we break down AEW Dynamite. Thursdays, I'm here. And Fridays, I'm trying to fill up my calendar. I don't know. Maybe I'll talk with the wrestling chatter. Who knows?
Yeah, man.
Buy a shirt at realjackfarmer.threadless.com.
Yes, realjackfarmer.threadless.com for all your Jack Farmer merchandise. But no, in all seriousness, Tuesday night's the Everything Tournament's a big pop culture mismatch. Crazy guests up in that show. Mia Yim, Montez Ford, John Bailey, the Epic Voice guy, Ryan Popola are on that show. It goes live every Tuesday on twitch.tv/Cocosina or twitch.tv/ThePinoMac. As for me, Flobo Boyce, you can follow me at Flobo Boyce on Twitter, at Flobito on Instagram, and of course, Flobito.com. New content possibly daily now. Monday after hours, the flagship show where I bring some comedian friends and we talk about life. Jack was on that show too. Not to mention on Thursdays next month, the all new Commander's Log, the unofficial Star Trek Discovery Pro show. Can't wait for that. But until next time, peace out, y'all.